Greetings, greetings, and I want to invite you over to something new that I'm doing. It's called In the Moment Live, and it's a live YouTube stream that I will be doing on Saturdays at 8 a.m. So come on over and chat with me. I'm going to have Q&A, just going to be unpacking some of my takeaways from the prior guest and When the Moment Chooses You. I look forward to seeing you over there on Saturdays at 8 a.m. for In the Moment Live. See you there. Greetings, greetings, and welcome to When the Moment Chooses You. I am your host, Coach Charlene, and I am extremely excited and honored today to have Andrea back with us again. Welcome to the show, Dr. Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. It is a pleasure to be here. I always love spending time with you, Charlene. One of my favorite.
Yes, we have so much fun when we're together because we're like kindred
Yes,
spirits and
for
we
sure.
start stirring each other up. But before we get started, because there's been some different things happening with Andrea, I want to read her bio or updated version of her bio, and I'll make sure I put the other one in the description. So let me read this a little bit, and then we're going to jump into our conversation. And so, after 4 decades of being a nurse and working for hospitals, clinics, and corporations, Andrea has retired. Yay! Congratulations, first of all. She has retired to launch a nursing career on her own terms and created a business called Lit Nurse. While she appreciated serving in various nursing roles over the years, she especially enjoyed those that involve healthcare literacy and literary arts. Specifically, she revealed in writing, creating, and teaching healthcare training modules on various topics, including total health of mind, body, and spirit. Utilizing evidence based content from caring science and heart math disciplines, Andrea specializes in coaching others on how to become more resilient and coherent, as well as to embrace loving, caring, and nurturing for themselves and those for whom they care. Additional services provided by the Lit Nurse include the continued writing of books, editorial services, and conducting various workshop services that will be available really soon include the creation of audiobooks and offering pain reprocessing therapy to help others alleviate chronic pain. And welcome again, Dr.
Thank you.
Andrea. Yeah, I am very excited to jump into this conversation. So, we've been together before, so I'm not going to go into why I created this, but this has like morphed into this beautiful platform of inspiration where I'm really loving all of the powerful stories that we're getting. So, I'm so happy that you're back with us, Andrea. So, just tell us a little bit about what is Andrea up to, first of all. How are you doing? What are you up to right now?
I am so excited. I have been retired for 26 days.
Wow.
People,
I wish I had a clap. I need a
I
clap for that
know,
one.
people have said, well, what are you going to do? And my man
Yeah.
says, you're busier now than you were when you were working. It's because now I'm really excited to do all the things that I've always wanted to do, but I was too busy working. Some of them I did
Yes.
with the job, but now I get to fully focus on it. So, as you read, I created a business called Lit Nurse, because I love literary things, and all my favorite things include, reading, writing, teaching, and mind body sciences. So I put all that together. And I just completed a series with the Sonoma County libraries, the regional libraries, which I found is a wonderful avenue for independent contractors and consultants. The libraries, they're so happy to have
Okay.
us. They're waiting for me
Okay,
to
that's
finish
great.
that. Yeah, so I taught essay writing for teenagers who were competing in the Martin Luther King Jr. birthday celebration contest. And both of the people who won both the literary and the oratorical contests were my students in my workshops. So that's a
Oh,
good
that's
thing.
amazing. Wow, that sounds very interesting. That's so funny that you said that most people, like I met someone last night at the Martin Luther King event, and he said he retired like 10 years ago, and he's like so bored. And I was like, What? You are bored. Look, you got to get a life, because there's so much more to you than meets the eye. And
Yes,
so, anyway, had an opportunity to talk to him a little bit about that. But I'm really glad that you said that, because you already were doing some of the things
I
that you love
was.
to do, but you really didn't have the time to do it like you
Absolutely.
really want to do it. So, speaking of that, let's kind of go into your story a little bit. And you were on this show last time, and you told us about your first book. So, can you tell us a little bit, quick kind of synopsis about the first book that you wrote?
It's called A Metaphysical Love Story. Well, Good Regardless, colon, a
Okay.
metaphysical love story. And it speaks to, how Paul said, he's good whether abound or abased. You're good
Yeah.
regardless, no matter what's happening
Yes.
outside of you. And it speaks to that equanimity, in carrying signs, being good
Yes.
despite the turmoil. So this my protagonist, her name is Aisha, life, like in the Stevie Wonder
Yes.
song.
Yes.
So her name is Aisha, and she has to learn to live her life fully, even though she was born an identical twin, and she no longer has her identical twin in the flesh. So it takes us
Mm.
through her childhood and her adulthood and her choices. She becomes a nurse, a NICU nurse, as we both can relate
Ah,
to. So there are a
yes.
lot of nurses like my books because I'm in the NICU. We talk and we're doing the work there. And so that's the first one. I just finished the
Hmm.
second one. It's out and available, and her life continues. And I was so blessed to have people respond with the first one to say, "We want to know more. Are you going to write another one? What happens after that?" So I did write the second one that continues her life and
Yeah, that is
enjoying
so
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Now, how did you know that you were going to be an author? Like, how did that revelation come for you?
I wrote stories when I was a child. My sisters
Mm,
are twins, identical twins. We lots and lots of twins in our family. So they would write, and they were on those old fashioned typewriters with the ribbons and everything. They
yes.
had bunk beds, and I would lay on the top bunk, and they'd be down there writing together, so in sync that they like write the story at the same time. They did artwork like that too, visual art. They used to win art contests, and they would work together on a painting or something. So
Oh,
I was
wow.
so into their books. When I saw what it was like to write at such an age, it was just normal to me. So I was always writing something. And then one day I got this story in my mind about Aisha, and it was probably 15 years before I wrote it because I spent a lot of years in school, and raising my
Yeah,
children.
right.
And I told my friend about it, and she's a teacher. And she said, "You have to write that book. That's a good book." And so
Wow.
over the years, as I experienced different things, because I put a lot of myself into my writing. Sometimes people go, "Hey, that happened when," they'll recognize certain situations or certain people. They'll be like, "Is that me?" My family is like that. They're hilarious. So I finally wrote it when I was working part time as a supervisor. The first one I got out. And then when I took the full time job, the second one came out a lot slower. And now that I'm retired, the next one should have no barriers, right? I want to get it out
Yeah.
before June because I want to be at the Juneteenth festival selling it.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
yeah, that's super awesome. So you said so the second book is a sequel
Hmm.
from the first one, right?
Hmm.
And so I guess my question is it difficult to write a book?
In some
I
ways,
mean, is it
some ways, yeah.
okay?
But it's so fun. My characters, they come to life to me. In fact, something that happened. I was watching a Sherlock Holmes episode with my fiance Paul, this morning, and I stopped it. That's what I love about those. You can stop it. And I said, "Did you hear what he said? He said that um, a story with an omission is the most powerful lie." And I think it was like George Orwell. So I wrote it down. I said, "I'm putting that in my book."
Yes.
So it's like my characters are real to me. And I think of J. California Cooper. She was one of my favorite
Yes.
artists, writers. And I was watching an interview with her once. And she was talking about her characters as if they were alive. And the interviewer said something to her. She said, "Oh, those are my friends. My characters are my friends." So
Ah,
that's how I feel about mine. So it's not hard because I'm telling the story. The hardest part for me is like when you're done, and then you've got to get an editor, and you got to get
yes.
a book cover illustrator, and you got to get a formatter,
Mm-hmm.
all those pieces coming together at the end. Those aren't so fun, that actual part, but the whole writing part is not difficult because I love it. It's fun to me, to write.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm wondering, Andrea, anybody out there that's author and they have their books still sitting in the computer? Any advice that you can give them? You know how some people have. I have to say, this is I'm talking to me too,
Yeah.
because I have a couple things in there that's waiting to be published. But any tips that you can give someone struggling to move it from, or maybe they have writer's block or something like that. Is there any information you can give to kind of help push people along?
Is it completed or incompleted?
Incomplete.
Then I would say at least write on it every single day, even if you write 2 sentences. That's the rule I gave myself. And of course, you're always going to write more than 2 sentences. But if you really just don't feel like doing it, say, okay, just write 2 sentences, write a sentence, but write. That's the main thing. Writers write. I have a poster that so that people say, "How do you become a writer?" Write. And so it is easy, in that sense. Just keep doing it, because, or give yourself, like for me, my impetus is that I want it available at the Juneteenth festival. So
Yes.
it's got to be done by by
Yes.
June 15th.
But that's good. That's simple and it's practical. Just write two sentences.
Yeah,
I
at
mean,
least
just to push
every day.
yourself back into it. So that's wonderful. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. So I noticed that your books are about it's metaphysical information. So tell me a little bit about why you call them metaphysical and what's that all about?
Basically, metaphysical means that which is beyond physical. It's spiritual. We're spiritual
Yes.
beings. Everything's spiritual. And I've heard that for like
Right.
two of my mentors when I questioned, the definition of the word and the existence in our worlds. And both of them, they were like, everything's spiritual. You can't even breathe
Yes.
without it being a spiritual experience because, you know, who we are as direct emanations of God, we're spirits too.
Yes.
Spirits like our Father, like our Creator. So my books deal with my protagonist. She's not so much grappling with it, but she helps other people understand, God in a loving way. I was raised in a very traditional Christian way, which included the not so loving piece of the burning you forever and ever in hell, and the devil
Yeah.
being a so-called worthy adversary. But then when I started studying metaphysics and learning about God as truly love and good all the time, and all the time God is good, I want other people to experience this because I went to the University of Sedona and the University of Metaphysics, where it's more new thought, like science of mind, and it's just it just takes all the goodness of God.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to share that with other people who might have grown up like me, being afraid of God. I loved him.
That's great.
I knew he loved me, but it's like, am I going to burn for that lie I just told? And I was always
Yes.
afraid of that part. And with this, in being a Christian metaphysician, you get rid of that. You get rid of that, and you look at it as metaphor and parable. And, you don't look at it as literally anymore. And it was so freeing to me. And every time I find something freeing and good, I want to share it. And so I
Yes.
wanted to share it, but I didn't want it to be like nonfiction preaching to people. I wanted it to
Right.
unfold in a story so that they might see something in the story that they like, and an entertaining.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. So I'm wondering, Andrea, so since I mean, you're going to have another book, right? You said most likely you're going to keep on
Yeah.
going, right? So is there any, I'm trying to think of the ask that, like the motivation. Um, is there a motivation? Like, is there someone or something of why you do what you do? Like, why do you think you're doing this in particular in this way? You know
You
what I
know,
mean?
I'm such a nurse. I'm one of those OG nurses who some people call us martyrs, but one who just wants to help people, genuinely want to help people. And I
Yeah, that's
think
good.
with this information that I have, because I studied a lot, got lots of certifications, got a whole lot of knowledge. What good is knowledge if you can't share it? Especially if it's
Yes.
something that can help someone. And so I share it in that way, through my books. Um, you mentioned the pain reprocessing therapy in my
Yes.
bio. Well, I think you probably know that I've had an issue with chronic pain. You might have seen me kind of
Hmm.
giving around. Well, I'm going through therapy for that, pain reprocessing therapy, and it is a mind body approach. It's not
Hmm.
meds, it's not narcotics, but it's learning about chronic pain in the brain and how, I mean, not that the pain is not real, the pain is very, very real, but
Right.
it's a mind body approach. And I'm benefiting from it so much that in this current book I'm writing, my protagonist is no longer Aisha. Now I'm Aisha's mama. You know,
Ah.
now I'm an
Oh,
OG
that's
chief
cool.
nurse exec.
Okay, then.
I have to write about my
I love
world,
that.
right?
Yes.
But so many times there's a book called "The Body Keeps the Score," and especially
Yes.
people like us, Charlene.
Yes. Yes.
Those go getters, those drivers always raising the bar higher, higher. I could do more. We hold stuff in our bodies that manifests as chronic pain, and I
That's
mean it's
right.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so
let's
I'm
go.
learning
Let's
about it.
let's stay here for a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yes.
really good, Andrea. Because I know me personally,
Uh-huh.
I am a go getter, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been about it was in 2020 when I sat on that healing circle, and they talked about self compassion.
Mm.
And so on that particular healing circle, I literally had to turn my camera off and I was bawling like a baby
I understand.
because what I recognize is that Charlene is always stepping up to the plate, stepping up to the plate, stepping up to the plate. But just like I described the other day, is I was giving out all of my pieces of bread and my loaf,
Mm.
and it left me totally empty. And so I was still smiling, I was still showing up, doing what I needed to do, but this little light that was on the inside of me was starting to wither, starting to kind of be minimized because I kept saying yes when really I should have been saying no. So
Mm.
that's where I got that quote from: you don't die when your heart stops beating, you
Mm.
die when your heartbeats have no meaning. And so because I kept giving out, giving out, giving out, and not really being true to who Charlene was, that's where I was losing the battle. But boy, I turned that thing around quick.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I'm glad I see the root. But it's your body does keep score because
Yes.
I was even having pain and things like that within my body.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think about it because you keep driving, you keep
Mm-hmm.
driving, and you keep driving. But then I start thinking about it because I lost my mom. I lost my two sisters. Like my two sisters, I lost within 2 years of each other, and they both were, one was 44, one was 55. The body kept score.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of stress in their life. There was a lot of things that was going on. So when I turned, so I had this looming thought before I turned 55 a few years ago that, let me see, are you going to make it to 55? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's where my sister passed.
Mm.
And so, but it just made me,
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking at that as a negative, I looked at it as, yeah, you are going to make it, because the inner critic, he likes to tell you
Mm-hmm.
what you ain't going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, no, I will live and not die
Mm-hmm.
and declare his
I
works.
will live
And
and
so
not
that's it.
die. I love that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love what you said about that. So maybe there's somebody out there, Andrea, that really are having some challenges in their body because of the stress and
Mm-hmm.
because of the overachiever and
Mm-hmm.
trying to impress folks and all of that stuff. So what kind of advice would you give that person?
I would advise them to look into pain reprocessing therapy. It's also called the mind body syndrome. And it
Hmm.
goes into the causes of chronic pain, because with acute pain, the brain lights up a whole different area, a whole danger system area. And then in the chronic pain, it lights up, and I'm talking about functional MRIs, it lights up
Yeah.
in the learning and memory parts. So it's a
Mm.
whole different section of the brain, learning and memory. And it's neuroplastic, which means, the plastic part is it can change. We can change it
Yes.
with our thought. It's the same thing we study in our mind, body, spirit nursing with
Yes.
hard math and caring science. It's about your mind, your mindset, how you frame it, how you view your pain. And I'm so excited because now I'm actually in the program to become one.
Oh, that's
I
wonderful.
love this
Oh,
so
that's
much. I'm like, I'm going to tell everybody there's so way out of
well,
chronic pain.
I'm so happy about that because we need you. We need all of the giftings and talents that you have to contribute to humanity. So I'm super excited about that. So tell me a little bit more about your business that you're starting.
Okay.
Can you tell us?
You
Yeah.
know how that irritating phrase, I fly the airplane while you're building it? You're,
Yes.
that irritating phrase. Well, I'm using that phrase because it's true, right. I've only been retired for 26 days, but I didn't want to, just because of our personalities. I had to keep
Yes.
going. I'm like, I don't know what retirement is, but I know what working for a check is. So I kept working and
Yes.
immediately took that essay writing job. And then another friend asked me to edit her book for her. So I'm doing some things like that. But when I bring it all down to what I really want and like, what I really want to do, it's going to be the helping people achieve their optimal wellness through the caring science and heart math principles. Even if it's not those exact classes, those principles and philosophies are everything.
Yes.
So I intend to do some workshops on that. Intend to write, of course, still always writing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and just
Yeah,
focus on the
that's
mind, body,
great.
spirit nursing.
Yeah, that's so great. Well, you look like absolutely amazing
Aw, thank
to have
you.
I mean, retiring. So you were in how many years of nursing?
I was a nurse's aide at 16, became an LVN
Yes.
at 19, and RN at 25. I just kept on bachelor's, master's, PhD, and all that. But all when it's all said and done, when you say nursing, which this is why I'm saying it. What part do you mean? Because if you mean starting at a nurse's aide, I was 16.
Yep, I am. Yep, that's great. So wow, that's pretty amazing. I
That's
was
like 45 years, but
yes, girl.
I'll be 61 tomorrow.
Wow, tomorrow, happy
Thank
birthday. You
you.
look amazing.
Thank you.
You look
And,
absolutely amazing.
I feel amazing. And that's another thing I want to share with women. My 20-year-old always wants to tell me how old I am. She was like, "Ah, I don't want to get old." And I tell her, it's okay being old. When you're old, you get to retire. So I really
Yeah.
encourage, people to make sure that they're set for retirement so you can and not be worried about your money coming in. You get to do what you want. I have no kids at home. I have a
Yeah.
man, but we don't live together. We're not officially married, and I'm free. I feel
You
so
living
free.
your best life.
I am at 60. So
That's amazing.
I wouldn't get caught up in that age thing. I think because you've probably known, like, your sisters. You've known
Yeah.
people who they had to leave this planet early for some reason and get sick and broken and all that. I saw that happen to some nurses. I said, "Oh no, not me. I'm getting out of here while I still got my physical,
Yeah.
mental, and spiritual strength going on." So,
Well, and I think, like, I think about, like, even just what happened with my sisters in particular, it was really not taking care of yourself
mm,
because, women in general, we take care of everybody else.
mhm.
Everybody, literally, from your just everybody. And so when you keep on doing that and you're not taking care of yourself, then ultimately you are going to break down. Your system's going to
Yeah,
break down, and especially if you already have high tendencies for hypertension and all of the other stuff that was in our family. I knew that when I what saved me Andrea, when I was 17, I was walking around trying to figure out what I was going to do. And we didn't really have the finances for school. So I was at the mall one day and I saw this sign and it said $25,000 United States Army. And so I joined the Army. I had no idea what I
Smart,
was doing. Yeah, I
smart
didn't know what I
genius.
was doing, but it was such a great move for me. And so it actually shifted me into having to work out every day. You know, I had never worked out before in my life. And then here I go, I'm in the Army. Now, as you can see, I smile all the time, right?
Me too.
And so that was one of the things that the drill sergeant would get me for every day, because the way that I coped with my stress back then was smiling. And so he would get in my face and he was like about my height and he was not the greatest looking person. And he'd be like, "What are you smiling at, Private?"
Mhm.
And I just bust out and I'm just cracking up. And then of course he drops me and makes me do 10 push-ups. And so, girl, I went in there doing one push-up and I left doing about 65 because I
What a
could not.
shame to be punished for smiling.
I
That's the greatest
was.
coping mechanism.
It is, but it was. And then so I had to figure out a way to not do it. And so how
Yes.
I was able to stop doing that, because when I did it another time, and then he made the whole platoon of women drop because of me.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so I was like, okay, I am going to get hazed when
Mhm.
I get back to this room. So
Yes.
I better get it together. So a
Mhm.
little discipline, and I was able to do that. But that going into the military really helped me to get my physical house in order. And so I start on that journey to do that. And that's why I think that I was spared. I was saved because my
Mhm.
diet changed, everything changed. And then, a lot of the stuff that we were eating when I was growing up,
Mhm.
although my eating patterns were a little bit different than everybody else, but I start getting into the salads and all of the healthier options. And I think that that definitely, I know that that actually saved me for where I am today. So I
Mhm.
just chose to live because I have so much to give and to contribute
Yes.
to humanity. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, yeah, I just wanted to share that a little bit, but that saved me.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
love that about Your Body Keeps the Score. I haven't read that book, but I think I need to read it because I heard
Mhm.
it's really powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, let's get back to your what you're doing now. I want you to inspire people. I want you to encourage people. So you were successfully a nurse for so long. So I want to know, what was it that helped you to keep your passion in the profession? Just curious if it's somebody out there that's struggling, perhaps, and they're really in the valley of decision, trying to
Mhm.
figure out how to keep it together. What sustained you? How were you able to do it?
There are so many avenues to go to in nursing, so many. And so I'd switch. I started out, I think, like maternal child, and I was a maternal child nurse, and then I went to newborn ICU, PICU, back to NICU, and in different
Yeah,
levels. I started at a small hospital, like level two. Then I wanted to do level three, tertiary. So that's why I went back to NICU. I wanted to do it at that level. I went into education for a number of years. Oh, my most fun thing was when I was a hospital supervisor, because I became a supervisor after that. The part about being a hospital supervisor was not fun, but um, I I became a heart math trainer and a Caritas coach. Caritas coach first, and then while I was still in the program, Linda said, "Do it." So vary it, do something different. So
yeah,
many things to be. I had friends leave and become school nurses. You can teach at a university, teach at a community college, be on your own, home health, so many things. If you don't
yeah,
like what you're doing, do something else. You don't have to leave the profession. About I used to do a workshop for teens, and I used to say, "What do you like doing?" They tell me what they'd like. I could relate anything that they said to nursing because I was
yeah,
promoting being a nurse. One guy
yeah,
thought he was going to trick me, and he said, "Architecture." I said, "We're always building new businesses, always in different hospitals and clinics and stuff. Nurses have input as to how that building is laid out. So even,
Yes.
yeah, even in being an architect, everything, nursing applies to everything. It's a
Yes.
ministry. It's a call. Oh, as a matter of fact, since I said that, it's a ministry, it's a calling. I need to correct something that was said in my last podcast with you. I think I,
Okay.
um, I think you called me a chaplain. I'm actually an ordained minister, and I'm only
Okay.
correcting that because when I was going through the San Francisco Theological Seminary, they told us to stay out of other people's lanes. That people get
Oh yeah.
territorial over their titles. I don't care nothing about a title, and so
Right.
I just let it roll. But I am technically an ordained minister, but I have friends who are chaplains, so
Yeah. That's
I
great.
wouldn't
You
want
know
them
what?
going, "You ain't no chaplain."
It's so funny. Our journeys are so similar. It's so
Yeah,
super amazing. I
yeah.
was a nursing assistant. I was an LVN. I mean, went up the
Oh,
track and
okay.
did
Yeah,
all of that as well. And I'm an ordained minister, pastor.
yeah.
So I mean, we are sisters
Love it.
indeed in the spirit.
Yeah.
So okay, why don't we do this? I would love for you. It's 2024, and I would love for you to share three wisdom gems
Okay. Let me see.
for
I'm
our
gonna.
audience.
All right. I've seen you do that, and I know that you do that. So I actually jotted a few down.
Yay!
Okay. And I probably already said this over my course, but I'm still gonna pull these out.
Yes.
Do what you love. You
Mm.
gotta love your life. At one point when I was a hospital supervisor, I said, I hate this phone because people were always calling me. And I was like, hey, you can't hate your phone. That's your job. So find
Yes.
something in it that you love. And I ended up finding, the caring sciences and heart mouth. So do what you love. Don't forget to have fun. Christ came so we can enjoy our life and have it more abundantly to the full. Don't let
Right.
his coming be in vain. Have a good time. It goes so fast. Never thought I'd be 60. What? For one more day, even, or hours. But
Yeah.
have fun. Enjoy life. Um, Second one, I kind of mentioned prepare for retirement. Be ready someday to live life on your own terms. It wouldn't work for me to have to work for someone else for all of my life and then finally die and all I had was a job.
Mm.
So prepare for a time in your life when you can do whatever you want. I know some people are proponents of running your own businesses and stuff, and I did have a business, but as a it was a fitness studio, but I had to fund it with my nursing job. So,
Right.
I stopped doing that. But yeah, prepare for retirement so that when you do get older, it's not all over. You can start over doing exactly what you want. Um, and then third, don't wait to fulfill your dreams. Build
Mm.
that airplane while you're flying it. Go ahead
Oh,
and
I
do what
love
you're going
that.
to do. While you're working, write. If you want to write a book, write it while you're working. Come home and write a few words at night, or if you want to work on your body, hop on that treadmill or that bike or whatever. So don't wait to fulfill your dreams. Start just a little bit, at little bits at a time, so that when you have that time, you can go full force in it.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I love those 3 points. The last one reminds me of I was a part of an anthology, and my chapter was birthing while working because
Oh,
the only way that I've been able to do what I'm able to do is because my the babies that I'm birthing, like the curricula that I create, the books that I'm writing, the speaking engagements that I'm doing, all of that helps me to be who I am, my authentic
yeah.
self, because I get to express myself the way that I believe that God wants me to express myself and impact other people.
Mhm.
And so, if I were not doing that, though, Andrea, I probably would not be happy or
I
fulfilled,
know.
in what I'm
Exactly
doing.
what you mean.
Yeah, so I was able to add this on now. It's kind of like double dipping, of course, but I would much rather have joy and fulfillment until I get myself to a place where I can do that full time. I don't like there's no option for me not to do that kind of work because I'm called to touch people's lives. And so I
That's
love what you
exactly what I'm talking about.
yeah, I love what you said there because that's so important because some people think that, well, I'm working full time. I can't do this. As long as
Mhm.
I have hours in a day, I can take an hour to do something or 15 minutes to do
Mhm.
something on my dream, right?
For you.
Yes, for
You give all
you.
that out all day long to everybody else, to the organization, to your family. Always give yourself something.
Yes, and that's a good note to end on. That
I
was
love you, Coach
awesome.
Charlene.
I love you too, sis. I'm looking forward to like working with you, partnering with you
Too,
at some point.
definitely.
So I wish you well, and I thank you so much for coming and blessing us with your presence. And
Thank you.
we can't wait for this to air so other people will be blessed. I definitely was honored and blessed by the wisdom that you share, and I'm just telling you, you are radiating such an anointing on you for what's next in your next season. So I'm very excited for the lives that you're getting ready to impact, that you've impacted over the past. And we are better because we've heard from you today. So thank you for being on the podcast.
I appreciate you so much.